Presidential fitness, a health scare for the president after he chokes and falls unconscious. What happened? How serious was it? Where was the Secret Service? New threats. Americans targeted again overseas while U.S. forces destroy bin Laden's most elaborate network of caves. Also, my conversation with Secretary of State Colin Powell, headed for the war zone. In depth, a cautionary tale. Why so many Enron workers bought so much company stock. The lessons for all Americans who invest in 401ks. And royal trouble. Britain's Prince Harry. Allegations of drug and alcohol use. His father's tough love solution.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. President George Bush spent most of the day laughing it off. His doctors say he's in good health and there should be no long-term consequences. But there were a lot of questions about the president, the pretzel, and passing out. It happened when the president was snacking on pretzels while watching the NFL playoffs with his two dogs. One of the pretzels apparently triggered something that caused the president to hit the deck hard. NBC's White House correspondent Campbell Brown tonight has the latest.
The first real health scare for President Bush and his first words to reporters today.
My mother always said, when you're eating pretzels, chew before you swallow. Listen to your mother.
But for all his lightheartedness clearly visible on the president's face, a big abrasion on his left upper cheek and a bruised lip. How did it happen? Aides say the president was watching football on the couch in his bedroom Sunday evening, alone except for the dogs Barney and Spot. As aides describe it, he was eating a pretzel that, quote, went down wrong, that it triggered a temporary drop in Bush's heart rate, causing him to pass out.
I hit the deck, and woke up, and there was Barney and Spot, showing a lot of concern.
The president said he's not sure, but he believes he was only out for a few seconds because when he woke up, the dogs hadn't moved. The president called the White House nurse on 24-hour standby, then walked down to see the doctor on the ground floor of the residence. The First Lady, in another room reading at the time, never heard the president fall. Neither did his Secret Service agents. Former agents say that's not unusual.
They're available and they're there, but they're not, within earshot, for instance, at all times.
What if there were a serious emergency? The president has beeper-like panic buttons in most rooms that will summon an agent immediately. President Bush today, on a 2-day trip to the Midwest in Louisiana to promote his economic agenda, wore makeup to tone down the bruising and joked about the incident at every stop.
Listen to your mother. It's the best advice I can give you.
His gift to reporters with him on Air Force One, a bag of pretzels with this note, chew slowly. White House officials say they did notify Vice President Cheney, who was en route to Washington from Georgia when the president fainted. They say it was just a courtesy call, that no one felt the president was in any real danger. Campbell Brown, NBC News, traveling with the president in Aurora, Missouri.
Doctors do say the president's fainting episode is nothing to worry about. But why would someone, apparently with no health problems, suddenly pass out? Well, it's not as uncommon as you might think. More on that now from NBC's chief science correspondent, Robert Bazell.
President Bush today looked to be in excellent health. Indeed, his doctor says several tests of his heart and other vital signs show that his passing out last night was not the result of any underlying health problem. But the size of the bruise on his cheek shows he did take a hard fall, losing consciousness completely. Dr. Orrin Davinsky, a neurologist at New York University Hospital, says that is not a cause for concern if it happens just once.
All of us have the potential to faint if we're under the right settings. A sudden painful stimulus, whether it's in the throat or stubbing your toe in the middle of the night on the way to the bathroom, giving blood at the time of a blood draw, any of those things in the right person at the right time can cause us to lose consciousness.
The president's fainting likely caused by a common condition, overstimulation of the vagus nerve, which runs from several organs to the base of the brain. It can signal the brain to lose consciousness. An instant of intense fear or pain can set it off. The president's doctor guesses that the pretzel did it by getting stuck temporarily in his throat.
1/3 of people faint at least once in their lifetime. Occasionally, it is a recurring problem. but for most, it is an isolated incident.
The president's doctors say he has not fainted before, and they did not send him for brain scans or any tests outside of a medical office in the White House.
If he was my patient, I would, number one, reassure him that his health is excellent and probably tell him to stay away from hard pretzels.
A frightening moment, but from what the White House is saying, nothing to be concerned about if it happens just once. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.